You know, I'm scrolling through the community and I see a lot of people put themselves out there for criticism and critique. And scrolling through the comments, I see looks great or I don't really like it. Or better yet, 20 likes and maybe one comment that's helpful. So I'm starting to wonder a little bit. Maybe people just don't know how to deliver their opinions as good critique on somebody's image. So this sounds like a great kickoff to a new series. So let's roll that intro. Episode 1 begins now. Welcome to episode 1, Giving Constructive Criticism. Now before we start, if you like this video, give it a thumbs up below, subscribe for future content, and consider supporting the growth of this channel through my Patreon account. Link can be found at the bottom of this video. Your support helps develop higher quality content, information, more frequent information, maybe a little better audio, but support's greatly appreciated. So let's get started. Now, learning how to critique is a crucial skill, not just for helping others learn and grow, but for yourself when you're working out in the field and you're shooting and you're out in a beautiful place. You don't want to go home and miss that shot because you were just a little off or you missed something. You're like, man, I could have moved that one thing. So we don't want the skill to just begin and end within the community, but it should begin in the field before you ever capture a frame. So a key piece of giving critique is to keep your critique constructive. Simply saying that you like or dislike an image is not helpful to providing honest feedback. Ask yourself, what do you like about an image? What don't you like about an image? Why is that a positive or negative to the overall image and the story that's being told? Are there things that you can suggest that the artist consider when making changes? Is there a specific direction you think the image could go? All of these pieces are components to creating and crafting constructive feedback to others in the community. So let's move on to how we take these components and deliver them to somebody in a way that's beneficial and creates better art. So one thing that we want to focus on is providing feedback as what is often referred to as a critique sandwich. I know it sounds a little bit weird, but doing that method is a way to provide feedback in a truly constructive manner. So to do that, what you want to do is start and end comments with positive feedback. In the middle, be sure to leave constructive criticism. Now, there's always something that a user has done well. Be sure to find those things that resonate with you and highlight those along with your suggestions for improvement. One thing that can really help with this is if you're struggling to find something good, is ask that artist what exactly they were going for. What were their goals in an image? And you may find that something that you don't like was actually something that they set out to do. And in turn, they were very successful at achieving that, even though you weren't a huge fan. So, some good examples from communities in terms of poor critique are things like, this is a really weak image. I shot the same type of scene and your image just doesn't do it justice. Or, I really don't like this. Or things like, terrible image, reshoot. Even something simple as, I love this, or amazing, do you shoot Canon? So these are some examples of really bad critique. You can see it's not really positive, you haven't told anybody some things that you can do to improve the image. So let's look at what would be an example of providing somebody with a good critique. So an example of this would be, I love the details that you've been able to capture in your scene. The light really emphasizes your subject in a way that makes my eye be drawn to it. Now, I would consider straightening the horizon. It appears to lean down to the left. I also find the debris in the foreground to be very distracting and would consider removing them. Have you considered doing a tighter crop on the sides to add more emphasis to the subject? Overall, great image and subject. Your choice for exposure and depth of field really add to the image. Great work. Now you can see how this provided much more information, opinion, but you're still able to deliver your thoughts on an image without someone feeling like all you did was tear their work apart. So focusing on that critique sandwich of positive, negative, positive, key to good critique. So what can you do as someone posting your work out there for people to help get better critique? Now, one of the key things is when posting images, let us know what the goal of your image was. What did you set out to do? What were you trying to accomplish? Knowing the results you were going for can help others to provide meaningful feedback. Knowing can make it easier to highlight the strengths and comment on how effectively you achieved what you were going for. Now, you will learn as much from critiquing the work of others as you will from receiving critique on your own work. What's important for all receiving critique is to remember that critique is simply the opinion and feeling of another viewing your work. You should listen to all critique you receive and understand what's being said, and in the end decide which elements you wish to work on. We all view an image or scene for a different reason, and in the end it's important to realize that your vision of the image and where you want it to go is ultimately most important. And remember, never take critique personally. It's often very difficult to receive critique and feedback that you may perceive as negative on images and work that you're pretty passionate about. So that's it, man. Just critique sandwich, something good, some negative or some constructive feedback that you have, and try to wrap that up with something positive. Really cover, what makes an image great and what can be worked on. So that's it for episode 1. We'll see you guys next Friday.